You guys, we have a dean getting involved with influencer drama. That's it. That's my intro. Hey, I'm Amanda. You're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about the Umiami newspaper influencer and micro-influencer drama that has been unfolding on TikTok. And it's interesting because if it had stopped with the first video, even with the second video, so Sienna and Nikki's response video about it, or even just making fun of it, this wouldn't have been a video that you guys would see. But then it spiraled, and then the dean got involved. Also, I have a developed frontal lobe, and I've been a YouTuber for over 11 years now. And I've been a full-time creator for coming up on 6 years now. I just feel like I have a different take on a lot of this. And I'm older than I think all of these girls. They're all in college. So I just have thoughts and I want to talk about. All of this did take place at the end of October. And obviously now, as I'm filming this bit, I am in Vegas for Formula One and it's November 20th. This just got delayed for a couple of different reasons. I had to keep pushing it. So everything seemingly at this time is mostly wrapped up. I want to talk about, taking a beat and checking in with yourself. And I wanted to talk about this because I do think we're going to continue to see a rise of students becoming influencers. And also there's this thing on the fan side of the internet or viewer side of the internet where it's easy to see like people interacting online and assume that everyone is best friends. And I do think that kind of played a little bit of a role in this, just slightly, or at least like the expectation that you do have to be friends with everyone. So I still want to talk about this. I feel like there's a lot of use this as a cautionary tale, take heed type of things with this because, oh my God, just go to class, please. One of the girls that was kind of attached to this, but also not, is yeah, I'm not getting involved in this. I have class today. And frankly, probably the smartest thing that could be happening here because again, they're all at school. So the initial video that I got was from Sienna. It's this video.
I made a video saying that there's enough room for all the influencers in the world, but at Umiami right now doesn't feel that way. Umiami has an newspaper called the Umiami Hurricane, and they did stories on influencers who are up and coming and rising, and they did an article on me, and it was an amazing experience, and I'm so happy that I was written about. But my article, one of the main points said that I will come on here and be vulnerable with you guys and tell you if I'm having a crappy day. And I'm having a crappy moment right now.
Sienna is a TikTok influencer. At the time you're recording this, she has 24K on TikTok, which is smaller for TikTok. I'm going to be totally frank with you. We talked about this the other day in a different video where I talked about Meg, who at the time of me recording, I believe had 80K. And I was like, there is a difference between someone who's a TikToker and then an influencer, and then someone who just happens to have motion, basically, or has gotten a following, because there have been times on TikTok where you can sneeze and get 20K. A lot of it is self-perception and how you choose to conduct yourself on the platform and things like that. Sienna considered herself an influencer, okay? And there's so much layers to this that I'm going to go in. But basically, this all stems from an article that was done by the Umiami Hurricane, which is their student newspaper, okay? That quote, no one reads, according to some of the people involved in this. But they interviewed Sienna and a bunch of other of the freshman influencers. It does seem like this was a freshman influencers article that was written. Umiami is the university that Alex Earl went to, and where she got a lot of her following from is when she was at Umiami making content from there. There are other influencers. There are bigger influencers also now at Umiami still, but that's another reason where it's there's a lot of eyes on Umiami. Miami also has a lot of opportunities for influencers and things like that. There's also a lot of opportunity for college influencers. Now, again, as we are talking about influencers that are in college, I know I already made a joke about please go to class, because I do think that's also important. However, you can make money influencing and it can help you pay for school. So I'm not going to sit here and be these girls should not be dealing with this, because sometimes this is one of the ways that you can make money while in school. So I'm not going to sit here and be these girls shouldn't be influencing at all. A lot of this drama is insane, and a lot of this, they should have just set the phones down and gone to class. And so we're going to talk about that, but I don't want anyone to be this isn't a real job. They're in school. They're doing what they can. Yes, a lot of this is extremely unserious, especially in the economic times that we are experiencing here in the United States. So want to make that note. However, this is a way that you can help pay for school, is influencing. Okay, so this article, they interviewed a bunch of freshman influencers. Sienna was one of the people that was interviewed, and she said she really enjoyed being interviewed. She really liked it. And then the article came out, And on the newspaper, on the front page, was the 3 influencers with the largest following of the ones that they interviewed. And she made this whole video about how micro-influencers just aren't appreciated. And she's like, frankly, she's whining in the video. I wouldn't say that she's crying. She sounds like she's about to cry, but she is kind of whining.
On Instagram, they posted the cover page, which was the 3 influencers with the biggest following here. I know I don't have a big following, but it made me realize that, like, micro-influencers don't get enough recognition. And even though I'm chasing the same dream as they are, and I'm trying so fucking hard all the time, I just don't feel appreciated right now. And yes, the fact that I even got written about was amazing, but it just feels like I'm chasing a dream, but I'm still so freaking far behind.
My overall advice to everyone involved, you need a group chat. You need a group chat, whether it's with other creators, other influencers, people that are completely offline that can tell you when you're being ridiculous. You need a group chat, okay? Because some of that first video from Sienna, that should have stayed in the drafts. And there's a detail in Sienna's videos that I think is very obvious, where you can see her reaching to like stop the camera or stop recording and do it again. If she had just taken the time to go through and edit this, maybe she would have thought through it a little second longer and then stopped herself from recording. Sometimes that's what's needed. Sometimes I type out a tweet and then I'm like, okay, I got that out of my system. And then I delete the tweet because it was stupid and I shouldn't post that. You got to develop that. This is better for the journal. Let me write about this. This was one of those things where it's like, if you truly felt called to discuss it, I would write about it first, talk with your friend about it, get frustrated, and then let it breathe for a second and then be like, actually, I do still want to talk about it. Sometimes you got to let it breathe because this video was, fascinating. And a lot of people that don't go to the University of Miami were eating her up over it because the concept of micro-influencing, for those of you who don't know, you can call yourself a micro-influencer with 500 followers. You can call yourself a micro-influencer with, 30K. I have just under 60K, I think, on TikTok. Technically, I guess you could classify me as a micro-influencer, but I don't make influencer content over on TikTok. I just make content, and then sometimes they ask me to post a TikTok, that type of thing. I classify myself as a creator, not an influencer, which we can go into the back and forth of all of that. But with micro-influencing, there are a lot of influencers that are micro-influencers that make good money because a lot of brands want to see engaged audiences, and oftentimes when you have a bigger audience, not everyone is watching or engaging. So like your click-through rate, your engagement rate can actually be really high when you are a micro-influencer, and a lot of brands like that, especially smaller brands. So it's not like you're not an influencer with this. She herself is acknowledging micro-influencing. As far as being appreciated, the concept with the article is fascinating. With like this being appreciated within the article is interesting because the whole concept of like being a micro-influencer is that you have an engaged audience. So like if you have an audience that likes your content, you are appreciated. Like that's the whole thing. I think appreciation and being featured in an article are two different things. And she did get a whole segment on the article. She's featured in the article. She's just not in the top 3 of the follower count, which comparatively, the girl she ends up getting in drama with, I think she has like 400K, like something absurd, like on TikTok. So like, it's just an interesting take and I don't think it's necessary. And I think there was a way to approach this in a way that was very different, especially because in her video, she references this video.
Genuinely, why do people think women can't support women? Especially from my point of view, why is it a competition between the best influencer out there? I'm not a huge influencer. I don't have a huge following. We know that. But the last time I checked, there wasn't a limit on how many influencers there could be at Umiami.
This video is about support all women. You don't need to compare us all. In the caption, she tags Nikki and I think the other 2 influencers that are featured in this article. So I'm assuming she made this after she was interviewed, where maybe they asked her about like competition with other influencers and stuff on campus. I have not read this full piece or anything like that. I don't think it's necessary. It's almost funnier if I don't, for the nature of this. She references them specifically, and I believe it's the 3 that are also on the cover. It's interesting to put this out and then have that come out, and then you yourself are directly saying that you were not appreciated, but also it seems like you are directly putting yourself in competition with these girls when you were saying that there's room for all influencers and all of that. Like, there is room for everyone. I do believe that, frankly. We can argue about that when it comes to brand deals and things like that, but also it's like, you succeeding does not take away from me succeeding. as I said, I have a developed frontal lobe. Most of these girls don't. They are 18. As I said, I'm older than most of these girls. They may not have sought that out yet. They're not all women are competition yet. They may not have gotten to that mental state yet. It's interesting to put out that video and then follow it up with this one. And I just think that alone, you should have thought this through a little bit more with that other video and how this would look. Because both videos are still up on her page. So a bunch of people were making fun of Sienna, okay? As it would happen. This was a crazy video. The fact that you left it up is a lot. Then we have Nikki. Sorry, I overjumped. Nikki has 321,000 followers at the time we were recording this. She also goes to the University of Miami. Her whole thing, even in the article, she mentioned, it's mentioned that she is trolling half the time. She is taking jabs at people and things like that. And it's working and she's getting a follower from it and following from it and things like that. She made a video mimicking Sienna.
Micro-influencers do not get enough recognition. I just wanted to bring this important issue to everyone's attention because we haven't been appreciating micro-influencers enough. The impact they make on society is so huge. It's a big responsibility being an influencer, and we deserve more appreciation for it. It's sad that so many people disregard what it takes to be an influencer and the grit and work ethic you need to wake up every day and open up TikTok and click post and scroll for inspiration. It's a lot.
She does not mention Sienna by name, but she is very clearly talking about micro-influencers not being appreciated. And again, Nikki was featured in the article. She was one of the 3 that was shown on the front page. She did this one and she did another one. And then it sounds like I cannot find proof of this. And I believe the video that Nikki made about it has been deleted and I have not been able to find it quite yet. Maybe I find it before this video comes out. But other people are saying that either Sienna commented on her post or DM'd her and said, you might have more followers than me, but you should be careful because I have more connections at Umiami than you do. Weird. Wild. Crazy.
Yesterday, I made a video saying that micro-influencers should get more appreciation. And I guess I pissed off the girl that made the original video. I get 2 long-ass paragraphs from her just being like, you might have more followers than me, but I have more school connections, so watch out, I can really screw you over. And then her mom starts commenting on all my videos and school posts made about me, and she's like, you guys really support this girl?
On the post of the Miami Hurricane Instagram page, it has been taken down, but someone commented why did you delete this? So I was able to find the mom's Instagram account. The mom's TikTok account is private. The Instagram account is not. We have a video from her which we'll talk about in a minute, but she apparently commented under Nikki's feature post, you guys support this girl or something like that. So she posted the first one and the second video. One got 900K about, the other got 1 million. And then she posted, prob in trouble with the dean over unappreciated micro-influencers, trying to get me kicked out of Umiami, take a joke, bruh. Basically, Nikki is talking about the DMs that she got, the mom talking about this, and then apparently she got sent a no contact order by the dean over a TikTok. So what it sounds like happened, based off context clues of another video, Sienna complained about this to her mom, or her mom was watching this, and then her mom made a complaint to the dean, and then the dean got involved. Now, again, she never mentions Sienna by name. Other people do. If she can show these messages, I feel like this could be argued as intimidation. So, if they're arguing bullying, which the phrase bullying doesn't seem to come up, but no contact order. It doesn't even sound like she was contacting her. If anything, it sounds like Sienna was, again, contacting Nikki. But still, we have the dean getting involved in something like this over a student article. Then she got a email calling for a meeting with Dean. Oh, we have the name. And someone in the comments section told Nikki, I think it's time you hire an attorney or a legal counselor. Do not attend that meeting alone. And she said, I fear I don't have the funds for that shit. I just got to push through solo. And again, a lot of influencers, I don't think also don't have the money that some people think that they do. Because as I said, it can help pay for school. But that is not the case for everybody. Some people make far less money. A lot of, especially when you're in the micro-influencer category, which does not seem that, size-wise, Nikki is not in that category. But it does seem like she gets gifted a bunch of products. She also does do a couple of influencer outreach as far as sponsorship goes. A lot of brands like working with college students because that is their target demographic. So it makes sense that they work with a lot of college influencers. But also lawyers are expensive and she is in school. So that is something as well. At this point, I feel like Nikki would be in the right to get her parents involved, especially if Sienna has gotten her mom involved. I think parents should not have been involved in this capacity at all. I don't think the dean should have been involved in this capacity, but that's my personal take. She ends up going to the meeting. She did a little mini video before going in. She did an update on the meeting, and basically the dean said that there was nothing that they could do. They couldn't kick her out over it because there was nothing that she did that was a kick-outable offense. And there's nothing that they can do because everyone is watching because this is all on TikTok. Now, again, we are getting this from Nikki's perspective. As far as I can tell, the school has not made a statement on this or anything like that. I found a clip from her campus piece on this saying that her campus reached out to the University of Miami for comment on the situation, but the school declined to comment, stating the University of Miami does not disclose information related to individual student matters. Also in this piece, Sienna said that to her campus, said, honestly, I know I sounded super cringe in my original video. It was so embarrassing. I've definitely learned to think before I speak next time. And just to be clear, I never contacted the dean to ask for a no contact order against anyone at the University of Miami. The school decided to step in because it went viral on campus. I really just want this whole thing to go away instead of adding to the drama. It honestly wasn't a big deal to me. I got over it 15 minutes after I posted the original video and realized how I sounded. And then Pindor, which is Nikki, said, I would just like to say that I hold no animosity towards Sienna and have no grudges against her. In the original video I made wasn't meant to be a personal attack towards her, but rather me hopping on a sarcastic trend about how out of touch people can be. I simply saw a lot of similar videos on my FYP and decided to make my own. I told her the same thing literally minutes after the video was posted, so I'm not sure why she chose to escalate it to the way she did. That's pretty much all, and that was the end of it. And this is by Camille Haynes at Northwestern 26. So after Sienna's video, she made another video being like, wow, I feel better, literally later that same day, which I don't know why you wouldn't take it down. And then she made normal posting videos, and then she put out a video kind of mocking the situation with her mom, I think, saying, close enough, welcome back, Kim K, about I lost my diamond earring in the ocean. She is in a bikini, as is her mom, so I'm not going to post it here, but they are by the pool. And then she put out a video taking accountability for what happened. It's not an apology video, it's an accountability video. And that's relevant because there was a girl who made a PR response suggestion video about this whole situation on TikTok. And Sienna's response is very close to what that video recommendation was.
Then I would make a non-apology video. Influencer apology videos are so cringe and very insincere. So you're going to make an accountability video instead. I would cap it at 30 seconds and just say, hi, I don't think my behavior was a good representation of me. It was a moment of weakness. I'm going to do some thinking.
This is my taking accountability video. My head was completely stuck on something that was so stupid. The fact that I was crying that it wasn't on the front page is just so stuck up of me. So I was just completely tone deaf, and that's horrible of me. But that's genuinely not who I am as a person at all.
She acknowledges that she was tone deaf and stuck up. She says that she did not get the dean involved. And then she said, also, please don't believe what everyone says about me online. I'm assuming that's people saying that she's a Trumper. There's a lot of comments of that. And screenshots of that. I'm sorry. Someone in the comment section said this was a micro apology. Someone said getting the dean in on this whole situation is insane. And Sienna replied to that person and said, I said in the video I didn't get the dean involved. The school involved itself. The question is, in that case, did you then go to the dean on your own accord? Did you go to the school yourself and say, I do not want this escalated? It is fine. You're not helpless in this situation because the school involved itself. Did you go and make a statement to the school saying, I don't know why this escalated this way. I am fine. Because it doesn't look good after you talk about connections at Umiami in a DM allegedly, which you don't seem to discredit in your video. And also it does sound like your mom got the dean involved, which I'm sorry, that's crazy also. Because let me talk about her mom. Because I found her mom's Instagram page when I was trying to find the comments on the Miami Hurricane post. She's got 13K followers on there. She is a micro-influencer herself. It seems they had a Business Insider article written about them when she did a whole decorating her daughter's room for deciding which room she was, which university she was going to go to for Miami. But she put out a video at the time of me recording this. It's a few days ago, basically talking about how her kid made a colossal fucking mistake. And I don't know about you guys, but I've made a lot of colossal mistakes in my life as a kid, as a teen, 20s. I've made a lot of choices that were pretty shameful and embarrassing.
My kid made a colossal mistake on a colossal size stage. And me, the mom, just trying to help, made it 1,000 fucking times worse. And I'd say that's probably my toxic trait is you come for me or my kids and I see red.
I think the mom went to the school. That's my theory. Because she did something. And it can't possibly just be the comment sections. Because also, harassing another student, I have not seen these messages because also you've made your account private and things like that, so I can't go back and check. But it's not good. This basically sounds like your mom got involved, which sure, you can argue you didn't get involved, but you can also say, I did not get involved. The school did this on their own. My mom did instigate it. You can acknowledge my mom tried to help me and she shouldn't have. I was just venting. I didn't know she was going to go to the dean. I apologize for the dean getting involved, or I apologize for what my mom said. Like, you can make an apology in there. Again, as far as all this goes, it sounds like this is mostly done at this point, aside from people discussing it. Again, the dean getting involved feels wild, especially because he seemingly acknowledged to Nikki that like there's nothing they can do and there was nothing that was serious about this. So unless they embellished things, like you can't blame Nikki for what people were responding to Sienna with, because Sienna was already getting like ripped to shreds for being out of touch and frankly whining about being a micro-influencer and not being appreciated in her school's newspaper. That was already happening when Nikki made her video. Other influencers from the school, including Colette Couillard. She said, going to class because I'm actually a student here with work to do. I don't have time for you guys to drag me into unnecessary influencer beef. As far as all this goes, like I said, I think this is like a good, there's this thing called influencer brain rot, and I'm not accusing these girls of having it, but it is something I think to be aware of before you post things like this. Influencer brain rot is not a medical term, but it is a concept that I have been familiar with for a while. And basically, influencer brain rot, creator brain rot, whatever, it happens unfortunately a lot when you become a full-time influencer or a full-time creator, where especially with influencers, when your whole job becomes, I need to get a photo of me in this outfit. What outfits am I going to wear today? How am I going to post this? What's this perfect caption? What music can I wear? What can I use to add to this? How do I frame this? Like outside for yourself, it can kind of like actually mess with your brain a little bit. Okay. And everything becomes very dramatic, but also, sometimes it's hard to hold a conversation with you. Like everything like this feels very serious and very big deal, you know? And when in reality, you are a college student paying a lot of money for a semester and you have class tomorrow, you know, like this is a very small thing. If anything, you probably could have made a joking video about this or even just took down the video initially, you know, but like it's one of those things where it's like, that's where also helping with the influencer brain rot, having a group chat, taking a beat, writing out in a journal, hell, therapy. Half of my therapy sessions, I'm just like, let me tell you about this insane internet thing that's happening right now. Sometimes it's necessary, but also sometimes you need people to tell you, hey, this is not that big of a deal. You need to calm down. It's okay. Like sometimes you need friends with real jobs, you know, like you need friends with real jobs, you know, touch grass, essentially, read a book, you know, go to class. Sometimes when your job is all about yourself, it can be hard over time to start thinking about people outside of yourself. And I'm not to say that all influencers are selfish. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it is important to remember that this is online and that there is real life. And apparently some people were saying like, hey, you guys think it's bad on TikTok. You're not on the University of Miami Yik Yak. It's also bad. Which also I will give Sienna the benefit of the doubt. Let's say her mom, seemingly the wording, it sounds like she fully got involved, whether it's the comment section or calling the dean. But at the very least, I know a lot of schools do keep an eye on the Yik Yaks and things like that. And if people are ripping into Sienna on the Yik Yak and they're like, haha, look at this video that Nikki made. And there's a few other videos that Nikki has made previously. I think one other that I was able to find just today scrolling of her talking about that she has had to get, like, people are sending her videos to the dean and things like that. So it could be that she was already on their radar and that this was just elevating everything. All in all, is this that big of a deal? No, but I wanted to talk about it because I think it's relevant, especially because with the current state of everything in the country, there's going to be a lot more people that are trying to do content, as has been the case for the last several years, post lockdown, during lockdown, whatever, especially with the current state the economy in the United States is going. There's a lot of people getting laid off. They're going to start being like, fuck it, I'm going to start throwing myself into content and seeing if this works, because it can work for you. You don't know unless you try, So I just want to implore you gotta remember the likes are digital, like those are not people that are your friends. And sometimes there are people that follow you that hate you. Sometimes you gotta think before you post. Sometimes you gotta wait to post. Sometimes the editing process makes you realize, I shouldn't have said that. Sometimes you gotta think through it before you post. Just kind of remember that a lot of the internet stuff is not that serious. Anyways, that's going to be it. How aware are you of any of this? What are your thoughts on the dean getting involved? Because to me, I think it's absurd. What are your thoughts on the Umiami influencers or college influencers in general? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder to check out Girly Pop Go if you'd like to see more car and motorsport content. Shout out to my channel members if you'd also like to join me on channel membership. So you can go ahead and click join down below. If you'd like to follow me on all social media, that'll be all up here. And that's going to be a have a lovely day. Goodbye. It's fascinating because every time I think about going back to school, something like this happens and I'm like, God, I would not be able to deal with this on campus right now. I would not have the tolerance.